Hello, I'm Jen from My Time Gardens, and
Cheri from Serenity Gardens,
we're
and
here.
we are hosting Time for Tea.
Yes, yay!
Happy New Year!
So, oh my gosh, it's been a new year. Yeah. So, tell us, Sherry, where are you at right now?
Okay, physically, I am not in Michigan. I am down south in Florida, and I'm enjoying 50-degree weather and clouds. So, kind of not too far off from where you are, but the temperature is very different. But yes, I have the good fortune of being co-located down here until the end of February. And then,
Perfect.
yeah, yeah. And then mentally, like, how's that holiday hangover? Like, what just happened, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's nice that I'm down here and I'm almost glad that it's 50 and overcast because I am taking this time. I went to the local library and I got out this really awesome book called Wintering. Oh my gosh, is it coming in focus? It's probably
It's kind of,
not so much.
yep. Sometimes it is, and sometimes it
But
isn't.
anyway,
Kind
it's
of like
called
life.
Wintering, The Power of Rest and Retreat in Difficult Times, and it's by Catherine May, who's from the UK. And I binged it. 2 days done, which is very unlike me. Usually it takes me forever to finish a book. And so obviously it was very good. And it was good like a really good cocktail.
Yeah. So, what were your
Was-
like three takeaways? What would your three
So
highlights?
obviously with the title Wintering, it's talking about this time of year and taking stock of your life, what has just occurred, realizing there's a past and there's a present. So embracing the season you're in, this slow time, and then your future looking ahead. And so I think it's very applicable to what we're discussing today, just the like what do you talk about in the winter about gardening? And while it's just like anything else in your life, you can talk about your past season, your wins and your dubs and your L's, so
Mm-hmm.
wins and losses, and you can then plan for the upcoming season so that when that sun is out there high in the sky, you can sprint out there and with reckless abandon and embrace your goals
Right,
and
for sure.
get growing, as they say.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, and then also it was interesting her perspective on a couple of different things like the 12 days of Christmas, how they embrace it a little differently than some their I don't know if you'd call it a culture, but they start the 12 days of Christmas starts on Boxing Day, which is the 26th of December and goes through January 1st,
Right.
rather than the 25th. Or no, I'm sorry, I said that wrong. Their their um their 12 days of Christmas starts at the solstice. So rather it's the 20th, which is typically the winter solstice, is the 20th, and 12 days from there is then the 1st of January, whereas a lot of cultures, your 12 days of Christmas starts the day after Christmas, the 26th, and goes through the 6th of January. So
Right. Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah. And then another thing is it made me feel okay because I am a person that does not sleep through the night.
Mm-hmm.
And finding out that in um in the UK way back, they had two segments of sleep and it was typically an interrupted sleep. So they would go to bed and sleep until like 3 o'clock in the morning and then lie awake for anywhere from 10 minutes to an hour and fall back asleep and then wake up their the waking time where they would get up and rise and get out of bed and go do their thing for the day. And so that really
Right.
resonated with because it makes me feel like, oh, that is okay.
Mm-hmm.
Be a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know many, most of my friends say that they struggle with the same thing. So,
Well, and I think that there's an anxiety around it, right? And I think that's what she's
and
kind
then
of,
that makes it worse.
yeah, that's what she's kind of, talking about is embrace the season you're in. Like if you're in a waking period, it's okay when you bring that anxiety into whatever situation it is. It makes you uncomfortable to the change that is needing to happen, or you're resistant to what's going on. And so I think when you fight it and you have that anxiety, that just creates more stress and, keeps us in a place where we can't really move forward.
Yeah. So
Very
that's where I'm
nice.
at physically and I don't know, emotionally, mentally. What about
Yeah.
you? Where are
Yeah.
you? What are you up to
Well, I am
in this hangover season?
still in Michigan. Yeah, still in Michigan, and there is snow on the ground. So we are definitely feeling
That's a
this
good thing though, isn't it? Because snow makes it bright
so
and
good.
shiny when the sun does come
I
out, but
would
it makes it brightens it.
I would much rather have the snow on the ground. Yeah. And um again, I'm really feeling this winter process. I'm feeling a little bit of it's some grieving, like a separation of the earth. Like
Mm-hmm.
physically, I can't get out there and dig in the earth like I love to do. And so I'm feeling this separation. I'm also feeling this real, like it's quiet. Like my days, I tend to busy my days, and I'm trying not to do that. And so there's this stillness that's happening. And so I'm kind of trying to breathe and welcome the stillness.
Yeah,
And
bring it down a notch, right? Bring it down a
yeah,
notch. Let your brain calm down.
yeah. Listen to who I am, listen to that inner voice.
That's
So
good.
I found that there's a lot of fear that's rising up. I think we
Mm-hmm.
have fear when we have the unknown of the season, maybe.
Or
Um,
inactivity, because you're so used to being
mhm.
wound so tight that you're like, what am I missing?
Just going
FOMO.
from one thing to the other.
What did I forget? That's even
Yeah.
worse.
Yeah.
Nothing.
So just kind of embracing that and just being
Mm-hmm.
okay with being there. And I'm
Good practice.
just really trying to listen. Yeah,
Hard to do.
it is. It is.
Well,
Yeah.
good for you. Good.
So yeah, so taking inventory, I think you kind of mentioned that a little bit, like trying to
Mhm.
figure out, okay, looking back at the past year, what are the things that we no longer need, our gardens no longer
Mhm.
need.
Mhm. Yeah.
And like you mentioned the seeds coming, like I don't know about you, but I'm I'm always a sucker at this time of year to buy the seeds.
It's
And
that promise, the hope of something new. That's why you're a gardener, of course. You gotta
it
have your
is.
hands on something.
So, but I have a confession.
And what is that?
How many seed packets have you purchased but you've never planted?
Oh, and this is your confession?
That's my confession. Yeah, like
That's a
so.
dirty secret.
So my goal this year is to plant the seeds I buy because
Hmm.
it doesn't do any good sitting on the shelf.
No, no, it usually doesn't.
Yep.
No.
And the other thing I'm doing is as I'm making the purchases or planting these seeds, I'm remembering back, okay, which ones really didn't work?
Hmm. Yeah, so are you being more cognizant of your planning?
Yeah.
Like when I go to the grocery store, I don't say I need bread, milk, blah, 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 eggs. I make my menu, then I go through my kitchen and my cabinets, my fridge, and see what ingredients I have. And 9 times out of 10, you're like, oh, I have three things. Like
Yeah.
shopping isn't that bad.
Yep.
In and out.
Yep.
It's those sucker purchases when you go in and you need to have boundaries on yourself. So that's the hard part. That's going to be the the challenge, because you're used to probably buying a bunch of things. You have to restrict your your purchases, maybe.
Right,
Or give yourself a little leeway and say, I know I'm gonna buy some extra and maybe limit that.
right, right. So what are some of the garden, I don't know if I want to call them failures, but maybe like an adjustment that you're going to make this year? Like what are some of the things that you want to do differently in your garden?
Well, last year was really not, that's not fair because
It was
it's
not
a
fair.
it's a well, yeah, because I didn't we had a huge paper project going on that went way longer than it should have, but it came out great and were wonderful. And so this year, because I had plants tucked in here and there, and so I feel like last year was like a non-year. But I was able to sit in my gardens and do a more thorough uh assessment, if you will.
Yeah.
So I don't really feel like there were any losses, but I guess there was learning that occurred because I was made to slow down. I could not just rush in, so no rush to judgment on that. So
Yeah.
it was very uncomfortable all
Yeah.
summer, I would say, but in
Yeah.
the end, um, and I was able to engage and I met some new friends through that PPA tour that we did at
Yeah.
Love Garden through you. And I invited them to the house and they helped me see maybe what I couldn't see or um, kind of helped point me in the right direction so that this spring I will be able to go in the right direction, a better direction.
I love that you mentioned that because I was just in a chat, a lecture, and they mentioned the same exact thing. Like sometimes because we're in our own environment, we're used to overlooking areas or whatever. We see that, and so there's a term that has been used before. It's called blindness, plant blindness, and so it's like,
It's like nose blindness when you
yeah,
don't smell your smelly teenager's
yeah,
room. Somebody walks in and goes, "Oh,
right, right,
well, it's usually you that does it," and your kid is like, "I don't smell anything." You're
right.
like, there's
And
something not
we
right.
don't know what we don't know, right? So like sometimes
Yeah, yeah.
our plant palette works really well and it's really good, but maybe we
Mhm.
just need the one or
Yeah.
two little pop of
The wow
something.
factor. Yeah, yeah.
Right, right. So I think that's a great, that's going to be my goal this year, is to invite some friends over and do a little walkthrough and have them give me the assessment. Like, what would you do differently
But
here?
you have to be in a space where you're willing to listen.
Yeah,
That's the biggest part, I think, because
that's
I
good.
have been guilty of this where you say, "Yeah, come on over, I want to hear what you have to say," and you're like, "No, I'm not doing that. No, you're wrong. Nope, I'm not doing that." And so I said to my friends, I wrote it down, I wrote down the things,
Mm-hmm,
even though I was like, I don't want those. Like, but you should do that because it would look
mm-hmm.
really good. Okay, you know, because it's like I hired them. You know, if you
Yeah,
hired someone to come in.
yeah.
So I'm gonna try those things and I think they will help anchor my gardens because I'm no secret I'm getting older. Um, as we all are. And so it's that, learning from all of the seminars I've been to, and as you progress through your years to ease your gardening um, tasks, you should probably go more toward shrubs. And then that also gives you some bones for your garden, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So that is where I'm headed. More shrubs,
Yeah.
less perennials, and almost no annuals. I mean, I have containers that I do my annuals in. But even then, I think I've pretty much dialed those in because I like to use perennial or annuals that go through all the seasons.
Right.
Have the certain ones go all season, and then you have a couple of your superstars that you trade out. And so there's some um aren't completely 100% new, and so they still look established. And then you just change out your certain colors. So, mm. But that came about only just through my job and my work and doing containers for clients. You're
Sure.
like, holy smokes, then if you rip everything out and try it new, you're like, we only have a month to go and everything looks brand new and it'll never grow to look,
Right.
filled in. So
Yeah. So finding those continuing superstars that can last through a
yes,
season.
yeah, yep,
Mhm.
yep, yep. A phrase that I have been using a lot is start with the end in mind.
Mhm.
Begin begin with the end in mind.
Mhm.
So whether that's the end of the season, knowing that you want to have these certain plants and have it look established, um, or um, you know, sometimes I think about like when you're renovating a garden, like the process and the cleanup
Mhm.
that's required, and it helps you with efficiencies and things like that. So, or like in my gardens, everything looks just flat and nothing in the winter because I don't have any shrubs in there really. It's all perennials. So of course all that stuff dies to the ground.
Mhm.
You might have a few seed heads, but um, this is going to help me achieve a winter garden.
Right. Right. And that's the
Some
other thing is
some
make sure that you visit your garden every season so that you
right.
can see where those
Yes.
holes are. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. So the challenge is accepted, and so that's what I have coming
Yay.
up in my garden this year. And then obviously the me getting out more and doing more in a business sense, reinventing myself. So
Well, and sometimes it's just, getting uncomfortable, like putting yourself out there, like
mhm. Yes,
asking,
yes.
going back to your clients and being very, very direct, like, do you know of anyone
Well,
that
you got
whatever?
to be ready to grab the tiger by the tail,
That's
as I
so are
say.
you ready? Are you
Yeah.
ready?
Yes. Yep. I'm
Oh,
ready. I am ready. I've decided I'm ready. So here
good.
we go.
Yep.
Yeah.
Uh, well, I love this. I'm so excited for this next season.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Did you have any things you needed to change in your gardens? Or
so it's yeah, so my gardens
I don't want to say
still
losses, but
well,
learning
so
experiences.
they're shifting. My gardens are shifting and they've moved because I shifted my company. I
Yeah.
use my gardens for storing
Yeah.
plant material.
Same.
And
Yeah.
so because I'm no longer doing that, I have a few things left over. So now I'm like,
Yeah.
well, either I got to find homes for this or I got to resell it or find some place for
Yeah.
this material to go. And then also because of that, I have some open spaces that
Yeah.
it worked, the flow worked for that company, but not that's no longer how the property is being managed. And so
Mm-hmm.
there's pockets of areas that I am diving into some natives. I'm just gonna that's definitely been kind of
Fun.
a
Good for
focus.
you
Mm-hmm.
doing the same.
Yep.
Because I used to think natives, how boring. But they're not after being out
They're
of the
not.
wild. After
Well, and
being
I think the thing for me is it's all about the relationships. So I'm understanding like
yes. Yeah.
how
Plant relation.
important the seed heads
Mhm.
are for the birds, how the
Yes.
milkweed's important for the monarchs.
Yes.
And so it's not going to kill me to give up a little bit of space. And what I'm seeing when I've done these little changes Oh, Sherry left us. So Sherry's back. We discovered that we need to spend time to recharge our batteries sometimes.
And our electronics need the same. Who knew,
Oh,
right?
these new things.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
forever a challenge in my mind, and for
Yep.
me, technology. So I think a
Well,
lot of people feel the same way. So you just have to laugh about it. Laugh at
you,
yourself. Laugh at the embrace the moment and laugh, right?
I feel like, yeah, technology is one of those things where the learning curve is just after so many
You can't
years.
you can't embrace it because it's just a forever fleeting thing. It's like the
I'm
gazelle
getting tired.
bounding through.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So we're
whatever.
doing the best we can.
Yeah, we don't have an AV team. It's just you and me.
No.
We're
Yeah.
gardeners.
We're gardeners. Yes. Yes.
Okay. We had our laugh for the day.
Oh my gosh.
Our audience feels it's okay.
Yep. Yep.
Anyway, we were talking about native plants in your yard.
Yes. Yes. So are you going to do some natives in your yard also?
Absolutely. Yes.
Mhm.
Um,
That'll be a fun adventure.
I would agree. So, my working at the gardens on Belle Isle, volunteering there, and then doing that tour with the Perennial Plant Association, opened my eyes to their how wonderful they can be, and it's I just like the way the maintenance of that type of a garden.
Right.
I think our culture needs to embrace that type of garden more frequently than a well manicured boxwood, you know, hedge, and the sterility of certain gardens where
Right.
there's more bare ground than there is plant material. And so there's a time and place for everything, as I always say.
Yeah.
And I think with the way our environment is going, um, and we really need to embrace a more native style gardening, um, and bring that so that people can understand and not be fearful of it. So,
Yeah. Yeah. And don't you feel like some of it is we're taking in the information? So the information is like, oh no, the monarch population is really plummeting. So there's this thing that we need to plant more milkweed. Like we're taking in this
and the
information.
bees too. I mean, they
Yeah.
talk about the bee
Yeah.
population, and people are like, what's the big deal? Well, if you don't have pollination, you don't have a lot of you you erase, it just rubs out a lot of what we as humans consume,
Right.
and we
Yeah.
need to consume food to continue on, carry on.
Yeah.
And it's those tiny things that need attention just as much as the big things. So
Right. Well, and
yes.
as gardeners, I feel like um my gardens are continually changing. Like I'm shifting and evolving my style from the inputs from nature. Like I
Right.
making these little adjustments. And so no matter where you are as a gardener, I think
Hmm.
there are these little lessons that we learn and we move from one space to another.
Yes. And you employ those new things that you're learning about in your garden just as I do, because
Right.
you want to speak confidently and also knowledgeably about um, the change,
Correct.
the shift,
Yeah.
the shift in the design and the type of plant materials that are used.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and then helping people get involved with gardening, and however small it is,
Yes.
because I myself am doing
Yes.
vegetable gardening where I have a northern exposure. I have no sun in my yard. I have one very small
Yeah.
area, and so I'm learning to use containers, and because that area is our beach, and of course it's all sandy, and you're not going to grow
Oh,
vegetables at that beach, but I do because my kids aren't home
good.
anymore. Nobody jumping in the water anymore, so I just loaded up with nice looking containers, and now this year the one thing I'm going to try is growing things in a hay bale.
I'm super
Um,
excited to learn about that.
I am too, because my neighbor, she did her fall decor and used a hay bale and normally just throws it out. And I said, hey, I'm gonna take that and give that a go. Because I was at the library at the
Perfect.
book sale and they had hay bale or straw bale gardening.
Gardening. Yep.
I'm gonna give
I
it a
love
go.
it. So I
Mhm.
think this is you embracing that play. Your inner
Mhm.
scientist is coming out.
Mhm. Yeah, because I was always told I'm not a sciencey person. I'm the least sciencey person in my family. I will say that.
Yeah.
Oh,
But look at
but
you.
maybe I'm not. I don't know.
But
I
look at
just do
you.
science. I do science a different way.
There you go. There are no rules. I think there's no shame. There's no
Indeed.
rules.
Yeah.
Yep. And fear.
Yes.
Just
Yep.
get
It's
out.
turning around and facing the fear rather than diving into your vices.
Yep. Yep. I love it.
Which I have, yeah, defined my vices and now know that. So
Mhm.
yeah, the new year, I'm excited.
Me too. Me too. I think
All
it's
the
going to be a
new
great
things.
year. We'll
Very
learn some things along the way and we'll share them with
sounds
you.
good. That sounds like a great idea.
Oh,
I'm looking forward to it. So
me
yeah.
too.
Well, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, friends.
Clear away the cobwebs of that holiday hangover and,
That's right.
embrace the season. Let's see, how many other things can we say?
Ah,
Set those goals. Make sure they're,
the
uh,
goals.
yeah, whatever, specific.
Oh, measurable.
Yeah, they're SMART goals. Yeah,
Yep.
specific, measurable, attainable, are reasonable, and time bound. Let's
Yep.
go. We got this.
Yep. It'll
Yeah,
be a great year.
yes. Well, I'm going to sign off by saying thank you for watching and this time for tea segment. And yeah, good to see you, Jen.
Good to see you, Sherry. Enjoy your
Many,
time in Florida.
yes, thank
Enjoy
you.
your
Many better
wintering
days are
time.
ahead. Yep,
Yes.
yep.
Good, good. We'll
All
see you,
right.
friends.
Take care. Yep. Thanks for watching.
Bye.